Thank you so much. I am really happy to be here, and I'd like to start with the slides, uh, Gary, because I have a little bit of a personal story that I'm not here to show well, I am. This is my daughter, Lily, and her husband now, Stephen. About 2 weeks ago, they got married, and the reason that I want to show that to you is Lily went to high school in Israel. And whoops, that did 2 clicks. Hold on, let me go back. Lily I have 3 daughters. They all went to high school in Israel when they were sophomores in high school, and it was HSI that changed all 3 of their lives and made Lily. She came home and she said, I'm going back to Israel to go in the IDF. And I said, sure, whatever. Anyway, and she did. So I just have, is a hill I will die on when I tell people, if there's one thing you can do for a child is get them to HSI. And I really thank all of you for that amazing, amazing program that changed the lives of my entire family. So I'm going to go into Jubilong. So I started Jubilong in, just going to the next slide, about 2016. Before Jubilong, I had been in my family's business and did the marketing at Manhattan Mini Storage. So for any New Yorkers, we were pretty iconically known for our billboards. I know my way around billboards. That's got a little bit of a one-trick pony, but I know how to message short, simple issues. And I always thought that Judaism needed a little bit of a rebrand. And I was very interested in trying to reach out to those who maybe felt like they never got the secret handshake of how to be, just felt outsiders when it came Jewish. So we did 2 campaigns like this. So you eat bacon, God has other things to worry about. We don't care which half of you is Jewish. Happy, going along, things were fine. Then what happened is May of 21, all of a sudden, anti-Semitism became normalized. Online, college campuses, you guys know. And it's very hard to sort of talk about the joys of Judaism with a target on your back. So we added anti-Semitism, this was in May of 21, to what we were caring about. And we went around the country, 22 cities, with billboards like this. We're just 75 years since the gas chamber, so no, a billboard calling out Jew hate isn't an overreaction. I think there were many, but I'm just going to show you a couple. Can a billboard end anti-Semitism? No, but you're not a billboard. Does your church need armed guards? Because our synagogue does. And that was what we were doing, both the Joyous Judaism and these billboards like this, because people need to know about anti-Semitism. They know about every other issue in the world. They got to know about anti-Semitism. And then what happened is October 7th, and the entire game changed. The world changed, as you guys know. So we said, okay, so we need to be changing too. So, sorry, that was one more pre. That was Think Jew Hate Isn't Dangerous. Try wearing a yarmulke. That was pre-October 7th. And then, sorry, we also had a truck that we were bringing to campuses, because that's where a lot of the issues are with the anti-Semitism. Then, when the world changed, we are having messages like this. Cultural Jews died in the gas chamber too. Speak up. Let's be clear, Hamas is your problem too. And this is what we are landing on. How do I stop? I'm done with the slides, Gary. Thank you. So the reason that we are doing billboards, because it's very important. So, and that last one that said, let's be clear, Hamas is your problem too. We don't have time in this world right now to play our B game, to play any of our B players. Jubilong tests messages all the time. We're putting a couple $1,000s a day towards testing messages to a non-Jewish audience on digital ads. So what we are finding is that as we want to be speaking to the non-Jews, okay, because that's the issue. And the world is such that there are some people who really hate Jews, they're anti-Semites. I don't care about them. That's not who we want to talk to. There are people who love Jews, would never dream of it being anti-Semitic. I don't want to talk to them either. I want to talk to the mushy middle. It's that mushy middle. It's really about, could be 80% of America. It's hard to know exactly, but it's close, who have not really taken much of an interest in it. They don't like Jews. They don't dislike Jews. But they are very, very important, because this is a messaging battle that we were in. The other side, the people who scream free Palestine, that's a message from a river to a sea. That is messaging. That is an area that the Jewish community Jubelong feels that we need to be stronger when we are keeping things simple and memorable. So, as I said, we do a lot, and that is the reason that we are interested in the let's be clear, Hamas is your problem too, is that is what Americans are interested in. As I said, we do a lot of testing. And my heart breaks every day, as I'm sure yours does too, when I think about the hostages. And I know there's been a lot of hostage billboards all over the country. And unfortunately, about 6 days after the 7th, 7 days, the sympathy for the hostages and what was happening started to really go down. And people, the messages that our enemies are doing are saying, well, why is a Jewish hostage any more important than the Palestinian baby that you just killed? So that message, which resonates so in each one of our hearts, doesn't really resonate as well to sort of the broad public. Again, that's what I'm interested in. Broad public. What do they care about? You know what they care about? They care about themselves. And they care about that Hamas is fighting a holy war, and they care about someday it's going to come to America. That is what they care about. They don't particularly care about Jews, but they do care that this problem could be on in their lives. Okay, so that is why Hamas is your problem too, is very, it's just the strongest message right now. We will keep testing every single day, so it's possible it'll change, but that's really what needs to happen for so many, for that mushy middle is. This is not my problem. This is my problem today. It's your problem tomorrow. You better hope that Israel beats Hamas. You better stop calling for a ceasefire. All that nonsense that's happening, that is going to hurt them. People are very, people are selfish. They're worried about their lives. Why do billboards work? Is we live in very siloed lives. You see your news feed, I see my feed. My algorithm on my Instagram account is different than yours. So we've all sort of, it's just the way the world, every channel and newspaper that we pick up, we have picked up our own, and we get different news than everybody else. And when you really think about it, outdoor advertising, which are basically billboards and bus stops and things like that, is really the only unsiloed way to reach people in the world that we live in, because everyone drives on Route 80 or walks down the street and might see the billboard. Jubelong believes very strongly in, you have to see a message at least 3 times before it gets into your brain. So we're doing a lot of repetition. Our goal, and another thing about billboards is they get on the news. And remember, I'm interested in the mainstream, not particularly the Jewish audience. So we're getting on CNN and ABC and CBS. So the mainstream that everybody is reading, they will see the billboards, and they'll say, okay, can you come on TV and talk about why did you put these billboards in San Antonio, Texas? And you know my answer. It's exactly what I just told you. It's because people in San Antonio who are not Jewish should be worried about Hamas ruining their lives. And that is what this message is. And I also, let's see what else. Jubelong is a 501c3. I'm very proud to be a philanthropist in my own right. So I pay for all of the overhead at Jubelong. So when people are interested in billboards, the money goes right to the billboards or the testing. And I do just want to talk, just another minute or two. By the way, I'm just so happy to be here talking to all of you today. I really, really am. When I talked about the testing, it's incredibly important to always be simple with messaging to that mushy middle who don't care that much. So Jubelong, I believe very, very strongly in social media too. That is where we sort of lost a lot of this war. and where we are, gaining back but being very, very bold and knowing that following the data is important. It's not, trust me, we put messages on every day on our Instagram. Some of them I love. I would want them, on billboards across the country. They never get anywhere because we see what do people like and what is that non-Jewish audience interested in. And yeah, my dream, and I'm gonna make it a reality because it's that important to our survival, is to go to be in all 50 states and with this campaign, and then to do it again. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is keeping anti-Semitism on everyone's voice. America talks about things all the time. They talk about Black Lives Matter. They talk about transgender rights. They talk about gay marriage. They talk about gun rights. They should be talking about anti-Semitism as much as any other issue out there. It's more important than many than other issues, and that is what it's like getting into their brains by what we're doing, and that's what we're up to.
So first, Archie, Mazel Tov on your daughter's wedding.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much.
And some questions have come in, but you've already answered them during your interview here. But I guess one thing that I'd like to ask is, we have a fabulous marketing department, and we have terrific volunteers like Vivian Grossman and others that work with us. Is there anything that you would suggest that we put into our messaging as individuals, not necessarily as the JNF, but as individuals, that we should put in our postings?
I know your postings. I follow you guys. I see, it has a lot to do with who you're talking to. It really, really does. It's like we all have target audiences. If you were talking I do have an answer. You are talking mostly to your audience, and that is your audience. So you don't necessarily, it's an educated group and they have certain issues. I always think it's helpful when groups say, this is what we're talking about, but by the way, those mushy middle people who because we all know them, the people who haven't, they couldn't find Israel on a map and pretty much they don't care, which is fine. Give me something as your audience to tell them. It's like learning what to do. I will tell people sometimes to go read a book or read a long article, because Jubilon believes that, sure, I'm not writing articles, I'm not writing books, but I know who's writing good books and good articles. So it's almost like you can be a disperser of other things. So for this simple message, I think that could be very helpful. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you so much, Archie. We wish you success in all that you do. We will look out for the bright pink billboards and social media posts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.